Are you struggling to find the perfect Christmas gifts? Don't worry, I've got you covered. I'll show you 10 easy DIY gift ideas that people will actually love and use. These are thoughtful, simple, and inexpensive, and totally customizable. Let's get started. This list of gift ideas for Christmas are easy to make and they're affordable. We'll start with a few ideas for things around the house. They may be that you can use some items from things you have on hand, or what we do need to buy are certainly affordable and easy to find. Let's start with dream catchers. I purchased this ornament portion. I've added the 2 strings. This is just an inexpensive little dream catcher, and you could pick out whatever you'd like to use. I still need to add the middle string, so I'll show you how to do that. I'm just going to cut a piece of string, and always cut your string or wire a little bit longer because you can always cut it off, but it's hard to add some on. So what we're going to do is tie the shells onto the string. One way to do that is to just orient your shell the way you want it to appear. Like I want it to be facing down. So I'm going to thread the string through the hole, and so it'll be facing down like this. And I'm just going to tie the shell onto the string, just like that. I just looped the string through the hole in the shell. This will be the portion that goes on the dream catcher right here, and this portion will hang down. So it's almost done. I'm going to go ahead and tie it to the frame of the dream catcher right up here on top. Get that one out of the way. And just loop your string around the frame, pull it tight, and then loop it through again to create a knot. And then you just trim it off. So we have one shell on here, and I think we will just add the feather, and I'd like these to all be different lengths. This one's shortest here, this one's long, so I think we'll go somewhere in between, and I'm just going to trim some of this long string about like that, so it's easier to work with. And I'm going to tie this string around the feather. And again, I want the feather to face down. It's a really pretty little, maybe woodpecker feather. I'm not sure. I found it on the ground. And I will just loop the string around the feather, pull it tight, and give it another knot. Pull it tight and trim the string, and the dream catcher is finished. It'll be really pretty hanging in a window or wherever someone that you give it to wants to hang it. It could go on the tree. It's a nice little gift that's inexpensive, easy to make, and I think it's really unique. You can make it your own. You can use shells, beads, feathers, whatever you have, whatever you want to add. Next, we have decorative matchboxes. These are how the matchboxes look now. I got this bunch of them. I think there were 10 in a packet at the $1.25 tree, and they're okay. But this is, not the prettiest thing in the world. So we're going to add little pieces of scrapbook paper. And you just cut them out, the scrapbook paper, to the size of the matchbox. Now I'm going to use Mod Podge. You could use glue. That would work fine. I'm going to put this on both sides. And it will just dress up this simple, practical little item so that it's a little bit special. And I think that's a good thing. People with a fireplace, a fire pit, people who like to camp, they'd probably appreciate these. So I'll show you how I measure the paper. I have this sheet. It's from this little booklet of scrapbook paper, Spellbinders Media Mixage, and it has all kinds of really cool papers inside, and I've used a few of them through the years. So I'm going to just set the matchbox on the side of the paper where I want to cut. I could either do it this way or this way, and I think I'll do it right here in the center so I get some of both of these. And I'm just going to set it right there. And I need a pencil to mark this. So I'm just going to mark around the matchbox, just roughly. This is very, the markings on here look like pencil already. So I don't know if you can see how faint it is. I've marked a little place there. I'm going to cut it out. It is really hard to see. Okay, here's the line. Just going to trim this. Want to make sure it's in the right spot. And I'm going to cut it a little big, so I'm going to cut away from the pencil mark. Okay, just a little piece of paper like that. It's going to fit right on there, and it will jazz it up. And this is just a tiny bit big. Can you see how it's overlapping over here? I'm just going to trim that edge so it's not quite, because you want it to sit on top. You don't want it to overlap and go over onto the side. So that's perfect. So whenever you get your matchboxes, you can do the same thing. You just trace around the edge. And let's just go ahead and do a few. I have 3 pieces cut, and I'll cut one more so that we can do 2 complete matchboxes. And I have this one already the right width. This paper is the right width. So I'm just going to set that on top of there and fold over just like that. And then I'm just going to tear it. Just go gently. And if you crease it well enough, it should tear. And it's going to give it a jagged edge, which is fine with me. So that will be one of them. So we'll go ahead and I think I'll use this and this. So I'm going to put the sides that we're putting the glue on facing up. I want this to show. It's old handwriting. So I'm going to put it face down, the handwriting face down, and we'll put the Mod Podge or the glue directly on the back, just like that. So give this a little shake, and I just work directly from the jar for something small like this. And there's enough here on the lid that I don't even have to dip into the jar. So I've got Mod Podge on my paintbrush. And if you use a regular paintbrush for this, as long as you run that paintbrush under water real quickly, it gets all the Mod Podge out. And it's good to use for whatever, painting, Mod Podge, glue, whatever. So I'm just going to set that directly on there. And I'm going to Mod Podge over it so that it holds it down. It gives it a glossy finish. This is glossy, I think. No, it's matte, but that's okay. It'll protect it. So I'm putting a layer of Mod Podge right over the paper, just like this. And I'm just going to do one coat. So I'm putting it on somewhat thick. It'll dry. And here in the Southwest desert where I live, everything dries lickety-split. It may take longer if you're in a more humid climate. So that's what that one looks like. The back still needs to be done, but I'm going to wait until this dries. So we'll work on this one. And I want this to show. So I'm going to put the Mod Podge on the back. Get some more Mod Podge. Put a little on the paper this time. Put more on the box. Completely cover the box. Got a little bit on that striking surface. But there's one on the other side, so that should be fine. Crafting should be fun. You don't need to worry about little glitches. They're not mistakes. They're just little things you do, which happen all the time to all of us. So don't worry about it. And now you put your paper right on there. Get it centered where you want it. Like that. I like that paper. And now I'm going to apply Mod Podge over the paper, just like I did before. Nice heavy coat, because like I said, I'm only doing one coat, and that will be fine. It'll protect it, it'll keep it adhered to the matchbox, and it looks all milky white right now, and that's what it's supposed to look like. So we have these two done. I will do the others, the backs, later, and I'll show you. So these are simple and fun to do, I think. I finished both sides of these little matchboxes, and just to show you, these are real matchboxes with matches in them. So both sides are covered with some fun scrapbook paper. Show you all of them. This has some fun handwriting. I just love these patterns. And here's the last one. I did 4 of them. So here are some ideas for gifting them. You could put them in a little glass parfait bowl. Wrap that up. That's pretty. Or this little candle holder. That would work. You could just put some in there. That looks nice. Or you could use a little basket and just line them up. Just like that. So these are very simple to make. It'd be perfect for kids to help you. There's all kinds of people who use matches to light a candle, to start a fire in the fireplace, campfires, fire pit out in the backyard, whatever. But I think these are darling, and I hope you'll give it a try. Now for the next around the house gift idea for Christmas. I'm going to use some fabric. This is a pretty floral fabric, and make a kitchen dish towel. This is very simple. I'm going to cut the fabric to about 16 or 18 by 30. So here's my 18 mark. And you know what? It's 19. I think that's good. Dish towels don't have to be a certain size, and the bigger the better. This is a nice cotton fabric, so it will work for drying dishes or whatever you want, a person would want to use it for in the kitchen. And let's see, it's 33 inches long, so I'm going to cut off about 3 inches right down here, and I'll just get it started, and then I'm going to rip the fabric. That's one of my fun things to do in life. Ta-da! So we have this left over. Make something out of that. I never throw anything away, and that's a good thing and a bad thing because you accumulate a lot that way, but that's okay. I always have stuff on hand, and I like that. Okay, I have the fabric cut, so I'm going to move the yardstick and the scissors out of the way. Don't need those now. And I'm going to use my handy dandy little, let's see what they're called here, multi-purpose clips instead of pins. Those work great. So I'm going to turn the fabric over and just fold the fabric, and for something like this, I'm not going to get the iron out and iron it. You could, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me. So I'm going to clip it. So what you want is the raw edge inside, and then turn it again so that when you top stitch this on the sewing machine, it'll look really nice and finished. And since dish towels get a lot of use, it's a good idea to go ahead and take the time. You don't want to have raw edges. And I'm just going around the small side, the shorter side here, using my little clothespin style clips instead of pins. These are nice, they don't poke you or anything. Pretty handy. So now I'm on the second long side of the towel. This will be a pretty kitchen towel for somebody that, perhaps a woman, might like this. Some men might also. I'm not sure who I'll give it to, but I know everybody I know has a kitchen and they eat. So a new kitchen towel might just be the perfect gift for them. And it's always fun to receive something useful that you can appreciate. It doesn't have to sit on a shelf and look pretty. It can just hang on the oven door and look pretty. And now we're going to the final edge. Gonna clip all of these, almost done. So we have our clips all around all 4 sides of the fabric that's going to soon be a kitchen towel. I'm going to put one more in right there. So now let's go over to the sewing machine. Okay, I just went to the sewing machine and I finished the edges. They're turned under, and They are all sewn down. So you can turn any kind of fabric you have into a new handmade dish towel. Just like that. Okay, let's start with some bath products. Just about all of us know somebody who could benefit from a little bit of pampering. We're going to make some sugar scrub. It's very easy, just 3 ingredients: sugar, coconut oil, and some essential oil if you like. You don't even have to use this. It could just be the sugar and the coconut oil. The coconut oil is somewhat firm, but it's soft. It's nice and pliable. So I didn't even heat it up. I'm just going to put it directly in the bowl. It's a little bit chunky, but it'll mix up really well. And then I have 1/4 cup of the coconut oil and 1/2 cup of sugar. So you can make as much or as little as you want. I just thought I'd make a small amount to show you how easy this is. And you can certainly get in there with your hands if you want to. I'm just going to use the spoon. You can soften the coconut oil in a microwave safe bowl in the microwave for just a very short time, like 10 seconds. Just try that and watch it. You don't want to get it boiling or anything, but having it kind of at the consistency I have it here is great. It's nice and it kind of holds together in the spoon. So this is perfect. But of course, if you like your sugar scrub runnier, add a little more coconut oil and heat it up. Or if you want it a little firmer, add more sugar. So that's about it. I'm going to drop in some sweet orange, about 5 drops. Well, that was more than 5, but it smells so good. And a little bit of lemongrass. I'll just do a few drops of that. And that should make a nice combination. And I'll mix that together. And of course, if you want to, you could color this with some food coloring, but that is not necessary. If you want to, though, go for it. Okay, it smells really good. Okay, I have this little jar. It's a cute little jelly jar, and I'm going to use this funnel, and I'm just going to scoop it into the jar. And it's good to put a towel or something down to protect your work surface, because if you spilled this, it'd get, you know, be a little bit messy. But it would smell good, and it's not the end of the world. So, I think this will be about the right amount for this jar. And I love using these old aluminum funnels. I buy them at thrift stores whenever I see them, because I think they're great. And the vintage measuring cups, too. I like those. So, there we go. I think that's about perfect. And I have a lid here that I can just screw on. And I will include in the supply list that follows this little segment a note that you can add. You could mention that enjoy your sugar scrub to soften your hands. You basically just use about a teaspoon and rub it on your hands for a minute and then rinse it off, and your hands will be silky soft. So I hope you'll make some sugar scrub too. This would be a fun gift for just about anybody. We have another bath product here. We're going to make bath salts. This only takes 3 ingredients. Also, we have Epsom salts, and this one has some of the Himalayan salt in it, but I have some more coarse ground bath salt here, and baking soda. So this is a very easy gift that you can whip up if you have the items on hand and give to just about anybody. It'd be great to use as a bath soak for the end of a long day, or some people don't take baths, they just shower, and this could also be used as a foot soak. So let's go ahead and whip this up. All of these are so simple. The baking soda is just a half a teaspoon, and my baking soda is a little clumpy, but we only need about half a teaspoon. Again, I'm just going to make a small batch, and you can double it, whatever you like. So about a half a teaspoon, and I'm just using a regular spoon. This is all pretty forgiving. I'm going to crunch up that baking soda. There we go. So half a teaspoon of baking soda. Let's get this opened up. And the bath salt's just about 1/4 of a cup. And this is nice and chunky. See how large the pieces of salt are? We're just going to use about 1/4 of a cup of this. And that might be a little more, but that's okay. Put that in the bowl. And then we need about 3/4 cup of Epsom salts. So I'm just going to pour into the measuring cup. That looks good. And again, this is the kind of recipe that is approximate. You don't need to be exact. And if you can see, this is kind of an orangish color. This has bergamot and sweet orange essential oils already in it, and it smells really good. So I'm just going to pour that in. But if you get plain Epsom salts, which are great, you can add some essential oils to it if you'd like. So I'm just mixing it up. And this is so simple. Even the kids could help you make this for gifts for teachers, for a neighbor. Just about anybody would enjoy some bath salts. So got a couple little clumps there, and I just hit them with the back of the spoon and they're gone. So that's what it looks like. And I have a couple options here. I'm going to put one little batch in a bag, and I'm going to use this small measuring cup to scoop some out and just pour it right in there. And that's good. And then you could put the bag, because it'll stay sealed in this plastic bag, you could put it in a little gift bag to decorate it up a little. And there you have a nice little gift for somebody. You could keep these on hand if somebody drops by during the holidays. Just hand them one. And I have a little jar here. We'll put the rest of it in the jar. Boy, this does really smell good. Just spoon the rest in there. All right, so there's our little jar, and we have a lid, And you know where I got this jar? I went to a thrift store yesterday and checked out the area where there are little jars, and I found a whole bunch of them. So this cost me, I believe, a quarter, 25 cents. You can certainly buy them new, but this works great. So we have 2 gifts right here. And did you see how quick that was? Anybody can do this. Simple, it's fairly inexpensive, you know, just buy the ingredients, have them on hand, and when you need to relax, because boy, this smells so good. I'm really enjoying the scent, even without soaking in the bathtub with it. And I will include in the materials list, supply list, a little note that this could be used for a bath or foot soak, which I think would be welcome by just about anyone. Next, we have a few edible gift ideas. These are so easy and fun to make that I think everybody would enjoy them, and you might want to keep some for yourself. We're going to start with some dried orange slices covered with chocolate. And I went ahead yesterday and dried my orange slices. I'll show you a picture here of the slices as I put them in the oven. Basically, you slice a couple oranges, however many you want to make. I did 2 large oranges, and I kept the ends and they're sitting over by my sink because they smell so good. But they didn't have much orange part, you know, orange fruit to them, so I didn't want to use those. And then I sliced the oranges into thin little slices, basically. And you set them on parchment paper and put them in the oven. This one does take a little planning, but it's not hard, it's just time consuming. So you can do this while you're home because you need to flip them every hour. So you set your oven to about 175, let it get preheated, which doesn't take as long because it's a very low temperature. And what you're trying to do is dehydrate the orange slices. You're not cooking them or baking them, you're just taking the moisture out. So I left mine in the oven about 5.5 hours because I heard that the lower temperature, 175 or so, works better for getting a good dried orange slice rather than 200 at 4 hours. So 175 for I did 5.5 hours. You can check yours and see what you think. And some of mine got done quicker because this was a partial piece and I just took it out early. So I flipped the oranges every hour. I set my alarm on my phone and I just flipped them over. And then at the end of like 5.5 hours, because I was just kind of tired of it by then, I left them in the oven, but I turned the oven off. So that was easy enough to do. So now it's the next day and we are going to take some chocolate chips. Just have a few here in a bowl, maybe about half a cup, I don't know. And I'm going to melt those in the microwave. And I'm back. So I did these for about 50 seconds total, but I did, like the first one I did 10 seconds and that didn't do much. So I did 20 seconds, then I did another and another. So about a minute total. So our melted chocolate is ready. And I'm going to go ahead and crush up some nuts. I'm just going to do a few because I don't want to use nuts on all of them. And I'm just going to use the bottom of a cup glass and crush them up. I just put the nuts between some parchment paper. We'll see what that looks like. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to Move that off of here. And I'm going to take an orange slice and just dip about a third is what I want to try to do, is cover about a third. I'm just going to dip it in here. Maybe I will drizzle a little bit on there. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to set it on the parchment paper and just sprinkle a few nuts on top. Just like that. And these will make wonderful gifts for people who love orange and chocolate together. There's another one. I'm going to set it down. Sprinkle a little bit of nuts on there. Take another one. And I'm just going to add a little bit more with the spoon. Set it down. And I'm going to leave that one plain. I'll do another one to show you. I'm just going to kind of lay it flat in there. And that one I covered about half of it, but that's okay. And I'll leave that one plain. And I'll do another one. So this is very easy and quick too, other than drying the orange slices. Though that is a little bit time intensive, but it's worth it. And a little bit of nuts on that. And I think I'll stop there because I wanted to show you another alternative is to just sprinkle some sugar. So I'm going to put a few down and I'm going to grab some sugar. So I have this lovely old canning jar. I just love it, this diamond pattern. It's beautiful. In case you hadn't figured it out, I like vintage things. So I'm just going to take a little bit of sugar in the spoon and sprinkle it on the orange slice. I use just a tiny bit on both of those. I'll see if you can see it on there. But I just sprinkled a little bit on these for people who don't want the chocolate. So that's how you do that. And it's very simple. You need to let the chocolate set up. It's not going to sit up. It's not a dog. It's a chocolate covered orange slice. So you need to let it set up. That takes at least 15 minutes or so. And then you can put these in a tin, a nice little tin. I would line it with some parchment paper or a plastic container. They need to be kept in an airtight container, and they last about a month. So you might want to make these a few days before you're going to give them away, not too early. And people will love them. Onward, we are going to now make some tasty spoons. These are going to be chocolate covered spoons for stirring into a drink. So I chose some vintage spoons. This one's kind of retro looking. The others are older vintage silver plate spoons that I think are lovely. And when I was at the $1.25 treat, I found these. They are candy cane spoons. I'd never seen them before. So I decided, why not get some of these? Give them a try. So I am going to, looks like I have to cut this in the back, and I'm just going to pop that foil right back here so I can get in there and release a candy cane spoon. Looks like I need to take all the foil off. So there we go. Isn't that cute? I'd never seen these before. And there we have 2 of those. I think they're adorable. We have our nuts we can sprinkle on if we want. So I'll start off with one of the vintage spoons. And I could just stick it down in the chocolate, but I'm going to just drop some chocolate right on top. And the more the better, because people can use this in their coffee or hot cocoa, tea, whatever they want. So I'm going to set it on the plate that has parchment paper. I'll do another vintage spoon, and the people can keep the spoons and use them if they want, or just display them, whatever they'd like. So that has a nice big dollop on there. Set that over here. And I'll do this retro spoon. Fill up the bowl of the spoon. Again, you just need some melted chocolate chips or melting chocolate, whatever you want to use. And set that right there. And now for the little candy cane spoons. I just think these are so cute. And there we go. I don't know if you can see that. Put that right there. And I'm going to lay it flat. I don't want it to slide off. And we'll do the last little candy cane spoon. I'm just going to mound it up there. That's quite a bit, but lucky person that gets that one. So I'll just set it on there on the plate and try to keep it even so this chocolate doesn't slide out. And now I'm just going to sprinkle some nuts, just a few, on these. And look at that. That took what, maybe 3 or 4 minutes? I know I had to heat up the chocolate, melt it, but these are very simple. You just let them sit until they set up, and then I plan to wrap them in, because the chocolate will be firm, and I may put them in the fridge so that it gets nice and solid, and then just wrap them in some saran wrap, plastic wrap, to keep them fresh. I don't want to have them sitting out. I'm kind of a stickler about those things. So that was a very simple one. And these would be perfect for anyone who loves coffee, tea, any kind of hot drink, hot cocoa. You could even use them in cider, I guess. And they're very festive. You could put these on a plate. If you give a plate of cookies, you could add a spoon or 2. And it's really something special and different. Our next project is very simple. You can make it as simple as or as hard as you want, actually. It's a packet of handwritten recipe cards. I've taken some that I've handwritten here and tied them up with a little red and white gingham bow ribbon. I'm going to take it off to show you that I love collecting these little vintage recipe cards with different images on them. And it's easy to just jot down your favorite recipes. Maybe they're things you take to a potluck or a get-together and people always rave about it. Those would be perfect to transfer in your own handwriting onto a recipe card so somebody else can have that gift to make themselves. And then if you really want to get special with it, make the recipe, give them the packet of recipe cards that you've handwritten, plus a few blanks. I've added just a few here that are you know, a nice little assortment so that they can jot down their own recipes and fix that recipe and take that to them. That would be special for just about anybody who loves to eat, and that's just about everybody, from my experience. So it'd be perfect for an elderly person, somebody who doesn't cook much for themselves, or some friend who's very busy with young kids who just, you know, always has people to feed, but it's a chore. So if you made up the actual dish for them, took it to their house, and like maybe on a busy Saturday afternoon, that would be their dinner that night. It would be a wonderful holiday gift that's really meaningful. It's something you took the time to do and shows how much you care. And also, if you wanted to combine the packet of recipe cards without making the dish, perhaps, you could include the dish towel you made. If you make a dish towel, these are very simple. You could make up a few of these in the evening, or, you know, just take an hour and make a couple and include those with the packet of recipe cards. That would be a nice, meaningful gift that would be special and unique. And now for something a little different. We can't forget about the pets this year at Christmas. So first of all, we're going to make a toy for a dog. I have 3 fabrics here. I thought they were cute. Dogs would probably, you know, love to play with this little frog and maybe these little bunny rabbit balloons. Pretty cute. And then some stripes. So what I'm going to do is cut each piece to about between 12 and 18 inches, however long you want to. And these are just some remnants that I had on hand. So I'm going to cut this striped fabric. Let's see. We'll go this way. I'll do 18 inches. I think that'll be good. So there's one. Then we'll work on the frog. Set this over here. So I pieced together 2 pieces. I just put a seam right here. And again, this is a toy for a dog. They aren't going to care if it's great fabric. You could use an old t-shirt and just cut it into strips. Whatever you want to do. So here's 18 inches. I'm just gonna go over here, put that fabric over there, and we'll do about the same width as this striped, and that is about 3 inches. So 3 inches, and I think I'll just fold it. Make it easy on myself. And I'm not going to finish the edges. If it starts to fray a little bit, that's okay. So I just cut there, and I'm just going to eyeball it. And we're done with that. So we have 2 pieces, pretty close to the same. Looks good. Now we're going to cut some bunny rabbits made out of balloons. This is really cute. And I'm going to see if that is pretty darn close. So I'm just going to use this. And we'll figure out what 3 inches is. Right about there. And I'm just going to snip the end and then rip it. Okay, so we have our 3 strips of fabric. Now, just going to fold them in half. And what we're going to do is make a toy that the dog can chew on, or you can throw it and they can play fetch. So I'm just going to Not gonna iron them, just pressing them with my hands. And we're going to braid these. So I think I'll get a clip to hold them together. And I think I'll put the striped one in the middle. Not that it really matters. Just do what you want. You could use all solid fabrics. You could do a mixture like I've got, whatever you want to do. If your dog has a favorite color, choose that. Okay, so we're just going to braid. And again, I have folded over the 3-inch strips, and they don't have to be exact. I'm just gonna do a loose braid. And just take the one that's left over. Okay, so that's pretty much done. We have a nice braided fabric piece. I'm going to go sew the ends together here and here, and I'll be back. Okay, I took this to the sewing machine and I sewed several times up and down, well, across here, just to hold it in place. And then I did a little bit more here and there and at the other end. So now I'm just going to trim off the extra that we have. Just kind of clean it up. And this will be done. So if you have a sewing machine or can borrow one or beg someone to sew it for you, this probably took me 10 minutes total. And that was even finding the fabric. I have tons of fabric, and it just was fun to pick out some colorful ones that I hope some dog will like. I'll have to see who to give this to. You know, we can't forget about the cats. So I'm just going to use this frog fabric and make a small catnip toy, because I know several people who have cats, and they almost always love a new catnip toy. So I'm just going to loosely cut a square. This is folded over. So what I'm going to do is go to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to sew right on top. I'm going to top stitch, go down here, and then I'll stop, fill it, I'll bring it back and I'll fill it with catnip. I'll show you. And then I'll go back and sew this one up. Very simple. And again, cats don't care if it's pretty or turned inside out and, you know, doesn't have raw edges. They don't care. They don't care about raw edges. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to be back. I'll show you how to do this real quick. That was about a minute that I was gone. I sewed the two sides. Since it's doubled over, I didn't have to sew that side. I sewed here at the top, and then I went around the corner, sewed that side, and there's the opening. It's like a little pillowcase or a little pillow. I'm going to just pour all of this catnip in. Yep. Okay. And in it goes. There it is. It's not full, but let's see. It's about that full. And I think that's plenty because it will catch the cat's attention. I'm going to go back to the sewing machine and sew here and we'll be done. This is so simple. And you know, with either of the dog toy or this catnip toy, you could sew everything by hand. That works too, just a needle and thread. That'd be perfect. So I just sewed up the third edge and it's done. It's super simple, and cats will throw this up in the air and roll over on it and have a good old time with Mr. Froggy. I hope you enjoyed these 10 DIY Christmas gift ideas. I hope you'll make some orange slices or the tasty spoons, maybe some cat or dog toys, bath salts or a sugar scrub, decorate some matchboxes, maybe make a little dream catcher, or the recipe cards and kitchen towel. There's something for everybody. So have fun and happy crafting. And I will see you next time. And consider giving me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And check out how to make Christmas ornaments out of buttons. It's shown here on the screen. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.